Hi, I'm Scott Carley, and I'm the results leader.
You're listening to ResultsLeader.fm. Being a thought leader is easy. Getting results is hard. This show is for the results leader who lives and dies by their results. Here is your host and Chief Results Leader, Jonathan Rivera.
Yes, y'all. It's time once again for another ResultsLeader.fm. We are the only show on the internet dedicated to the men and women who are getting results for their clients. Let's jump into today's episode. If you have a big, scary, audacious dream and you want to push it across the finish line, you're going to want to listen to today's episode with the Change Energizer, Mr. Scott Carley. Let's jump in. Scott, welcome to the show. Are you ready to rock this thing?
I am ready. I'm energized.
You're energized, and I feel really, really bad right now because I wish this was a video show so people could see your awesome background. Well, they're going to miss out, but that's okay. I'll enjoy it. Thank you for the pretty background and the good picture. Let's get into this. Let's give our listeners a quick win. What book have you given most as a gift?
You know, you asked for one, but there are really two. One is The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. That is a fantastic book for an entrepreneur or anybody who is going after success and how long-term success works. But there's another one, and it's by Stephen Covey, and it's The Speed of Trust. That is such a good book, too. Those are two really anchors for me.
And the first time we hear them on the show, thank you for those. And I'm adding them to my reading list right now. So let's go to story time. I want you to tell us a story of how an apparent failure set you up for later success.
Well, it seems like I've had more than one failure. Seems like it's a hurdle race of failures. And I have had to learn that you just have to use failure as a redirect to go after something different or go after success. And one of those happened probably in the last 7 years. And 7 years ago, I was involved in an organization where we were taking chapters around the Central Texas up to speed in their attendance and ROI and all of that, just a lot of metrics. And we were doing a great job. Matter of fact, we were doing a really good job. We got them to the top 2% worldwide. But somebody who was just above me didn't like the way I was doing it, really had some kind of personality clash with me and found a way to get me out of that organization. And it was so frustrating, so just kind of took the wind out of me. It was kind of weird because the founder of the organization was behind me 300% and tried to help me in other ways. But nonetheless, I was out. And I was just out. And I thought, oh my God, I've been doing this for the last 10 years. What do I do now? And another organization had just taken interest in me, and it was a CEO peer-to-peer advisory group that is all over the country. And they picked me up as a speaker and started sending me to CEO advisory groups all over the country in these incredible opportunities to meet with professionals that are managing huge corporate businesses. And it took me out of the B2C, business to consumer market, and put me into the B2B, business to business market as a speaker and as a trainer and as an influencer. And it was a godsend. There were a lot of big speaking doors and corporate doors that opened up for me that would have never opened up with me if I had stayed in that local organization that was just a Central Texas area. So that was that's something I'm really thankful for. But boy, it did not feel good at first. As a matter of fact, I had come back from a trip to Alaska, and I was about to start up one of those chapters, and that person right above me said, "Talk to me first." and pulled the plug on what I was doing. So, boy, it really sucked the wind out of me. But here we are today, and I'm traveling all over the country speaking for this group.
I love it, man. So let's talk about investments. What would you say is the most worthwhile investment that you have ever made?
That's a good question. And let me just preface it by saying success is a toll road. And there are just some things that if you want success, you're going to have to invest in. And that can be coaches, it can be tools and implements, certifications. I suppose that one of the biggest investments that I've made is when I joined the National Speakers Association. I paid the yearly dues for the club, the local club here in Austin. And then I joined the National Association so that I could be connected with speakers around the world. And that pulled me into circles of influence where people were influencing me. And these were people who had what I wanted. You know, my dad told me one time, said, if you want to be a plumber, you don't ask an electrician. You go to the plumber that has where you want to be and you ask them how they got there. So I joined the National Speakers Association and just volunteered. Eventually I became program chair. Then I became president-elect. Then I became president. Then I became a 2-term president. Then the National Association brought me up into the chapter leadership council to support all the chapters around the country. Then they made me chair of the Chapter Leadership Institute. Now I am rubbing shoulders with the best speakers in the industry, the most successful speakers in the industry. And that one investment has really paid off. But it wasn't just joining it, it was joining and becoming very engaged in.
I want to kind of shine the light on something you said there so our listeners get a better perspective. Joining those associations was one thing. Volunteering, now you're giving of your time. But how much of it is who you know and who knows you?
That's a really good point. It's really important who knows you. Who you know is critical because you want to foster good relationships, but making yourself visible and doing right things and being a contributor, then it's about who knows you. And I discovered that there were some decisions being made by people I didn't know, but they knew me. And the only way they knew me was through the visibility of being involved in the National Speakers Association. And those open doors. And I still to this day do not know who invited me to be a part of the National Chapter Leaders Council. I have asked and asked and asked, and I don't know who it was. Somebody knew me and pulled me up to that national level, and I am forever grateful. I'll be happy when I find out who that is.
Relationships, right? All about relationships. So let's think back over the last 5 years. What new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
So there's just so many. And that's a part of, the brand of the Change Energizer. Innovation and competence are the two things that personality traits that pull that together. And it's hard to just pick one. But Covey, in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders, talked about being proactive. So proactive, not reactive, proactive. One of my favorite sayings at all time is, things may come to those who wait, but only what's left behind by those who hustle. And I live by that mantra. I'm a take action person. If I have to wait on something, then it's because I am actively waiting for the light to go green. I'm actively waiting for that tree to grow that I planted. I'm actively waiting, but things may come to those who wait, but only what's left behind by those who hustle. And I feel like I've hustled a lot.
I love it. I love it. What are some bad recommendations you hear in your area of expertise?
Bad recommendations. Well, the first one is be careful who you follow. And some people have recommended that you follow somebody who may be a really good speaker or a really good convincer. I want to know what you have accomplished. I want to know what success you've had. And it goes back to the thing my dad said. If you want to be a plumber, don't ask an electrician. Go ask the people who have what you want and ask them how they got there. So the reverse of that is just following something that is a hot topic right now, or somebody who seems to know something. Just check in, see if they got across the finish line and if they have the goods that they're declaring that they do. And if they don't, then find somebody who does. Find somebody who has what you want and go after that. So I'm sorry I don't answer that exactly like you ask it.
That's okay. I've got another question to follow on to that. What is the difference between a speaker and a convincer?
So a convincer can be somebody who convinces you to do something based on some techniques of finding out what your pain is and offering a solution and providing that. They can be very similar, very persuasive people, and they convince you to do something. But you need to make sure they have what they say they have. So I'm under a coach right now, and the main reason that I'm under this coach is because they're $1 million producer. What that means is they have to validate and verify every year that they have earned $1 million that year to stay in that $1 million speakers club. So to me, that's the pudding in the pie. That tells me, okay, well, you've got the model, and I'm willing to follow after that. There's a lot of others who say, well, I can take you here and here. Okay, well, this person is in a club where they have to validate that every year.
All I keep thinking about is at my gym, the fat trainer with all the clients. Like, why are you listening to this guy? There's this fat trainer and he's always got clients. And I wonder, what? How?
Something is wrong.
So I think you've got just a really nice way of saying it. That's my take on it. We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for a public service announcement. We're going to get right back into this show, but I wanted to ask you a question. If you have been listening to the show for any amount of time and you've picked up even one single tip, then I need your help. Get the word out. Tell people about resultsleader.fm. Share it on social media. Share it on your email. Share it anywhere. Hashtag resultsleaderfm. Now let's jump back into the interview. Let's get back to results. Why do results matter?
Not because that's why we're in it. I mean, one of my big things is I help people push big, scary, audacious deals across the finish line. You know, everybody wants to get it across the finish line. That is the results. But sometimes it's defining what results are. So I've got a friend who is incredible at helping companies get their SEO up to the front page. And he's just really good at that. But there are people who find fault with him because they don't have the conversion ability once he gets them there. He gets them to the first page, but once all of that information and popularity is there, then the customer doesn't have the skill set to convert that into customers. And so they blame him. So you have to define, what does success, what do results look like? And then once both people are clear on what results look like, that's what everybody's after, results. Something's going to happen, I'm going to get this result.
In the last 5 years, what new realization has helped you get better results for your clients?
What I just said, defining what results look like. You know, it's so funny.
If you weren't defining the results before, like this is the last 5 years, how are you guys driving? Like, how are you figuring out where you were going?
Well, I had what results I could help people get. You know, I can help you manage your time. I can help you achieve your goals. I can help you to focus on what matters and do time blocking and all of that. What I mean by it is, in that arena, what do results and what does success look like to them? And I'm not a great listener. I have had to make myself listen and ask questions as a professional. Because before, I just assumed I knew what the problem was. I just assumed that I could do their thinking for them. And I got a lot of good success because, I was hitting the mark like a shotgun. Somewhere I'd hit the target. I was close enough and blow the hole through it. But somewhere along the line, the last few years, I've learned to just ask questions. And what is your biggest frustration? What are you struggling with? What is keeping you from pushing this big accomplishment across the finish line? Okay, tell me more. Okay, tell me more. Okay, tell me more. Okay, tell me more about that. And then when I got a more narrow target, then I could focus in on that. And I would make a list of the things that they would discuss. So then I knew that my coaching or training or speaking or whatever it was, that I would put that in the crosshairs, and that's what I would go after. So that as we concluded or as we were moving down the road, then I could pull those back up, those crosshairs back up, and I could list, okay, well, this is what you said you wanted. This is what you said. This is what you said. And they would say, that's right. Wow, yeah, that's right. And sometimes they forget. And then you can say, so what's next? We hit this target. So what's the next target?
Powerful. Powerful. There's so much in that little bit. Thank you for that. Let's talk about you. What area of your business would you like to see better results?
Well, in the last year, I have changed my model in the way I help people. I have coached hundreds of people individually, one-on-one coaching. I've had up to 10 people a day individually, every half hour, a different person coaching them. And it's exhausting and it's tough. So the model that I've gone to is now I do a 3-day breakthrough retreat where, anywhere from 5 to 12 people come through that retreat. And from that retreat, they have some breakthroughs and get some major, not aha moments, but major breakthroughs in their business and personally. So I definitely would like to see, I'm looking forward as that develops, it gets bigger and more robust. I'm looking forward to that. But the second part of that is that from that, there's a percentage of those people who want the support for the next 1 to 2 years to help them take those breakthroughs and turn it into a reality. And that is a group coaching model. So instead of me one-on-one coaching them, they're brought into a group. And I call it my MBA, Masters of Big Achievement. And they come into my MBA for 1 to 2 years. And in that, now they don't have just me and just what I offer on a weekly 90-minute coaching session with the group, but they also get the collective wisdom of all the other people that are on that call. And it's phenomenal. I've done that in little different pieces for the last 3 years, and I have seen how powerful it is that when you're processing an issue or working on something, that the other people in the group will chip in with their perspective and their idea and their natural giftings, and we come up with a solution that's 10 times better than I can give just one-on-one.
What's the difference between an aha and a breakthrough?
An aha is you hear something and you go, aha, well, that makes sense. And it's an awakening. It's a glimpse of something, a new perspective. And it's great. It's very refreshing. It's usually a little lightweight. It's not very deep. A breakthrough is when you dig down deep and you've got buried in granite something that you know is there. But the pressure on creativity and pushing through the obstacles and pushing through the limiting beliefs and drilling down into that thing and coming back up and say, I know it's there, but I just can't get it. And usually that takes 2 or 3 days. And in those 2 or 3 days with the pressure and pushing and drilling down and deep diving and asking penetrating questions and getting rid of limiting beliefs, you have a breakthrough. And one of those for me was 3-day retreats. I've done training for my entire career, the last 40 years. And I did not like all-day events. I thought after 3 or 4 hours, people hit a saturation point and they just, they're done. They can't take anymore. They're not paying attention. And so that was my limiting belief and the model that I went through for, 35, 40 years. But about a year and a half ago, I went to a 3-day breakthrough retreat and I experienced what it was like to be made to dig deeper and answer penetrating questions and work through stuff with the help of other people around you and just push and chip and push and chip and figure it out and get rid of limiting beliefs and finally break through to some real truths that are life-changing. That's the difference.
You're the man. I love it. I wanted to put you on the spot and you handle it beautifully. What results are you most proud of?
Well, there's a couple. That job that I was let go from, we took a region that was off the charts in the bottom where the franchise owner was about to lose their ownership. And in 2.5 years, my team, not me, my team and I took them to the top 2% internationally. That was a big deal. And I'm super proud of that. But I'm also super proud of some of the results that we've had in the National Speakers Association. And in about 3 weeks, maybe just 2 weeks, we are bringing to Austin the conference for the National Speakers Association President-elect Chapter Leader Institute, where president-elects from around the country are coming here. And for 2.5 days, we're going to drill down and help them to learn how to run a successful NSA chapter. It's going to be a breakthrough retreat. We've got multiple speakers. We've got more than that, multiple interactions and workshops. We've bookended one with a Town Lake cruise and the other with a cowboy gala. And it's going to be epic. It'll be a shot heard around the world. And I'm really proud of how that's coming together.
Excellent. Sounds like a good party. Any parting thoughts you want to share with the results leaders who are listening to us right now?
Results are what we're after. We just need to define what those results are. What does success look like? And you need to ask, because success looks differently to different people. So really clarify what success looks like. But my big key, my big anthem is taking action always releases the miracle. That's a physics thing. In physics, the formula for kinetic energy, there's 2 types of energy. Potential energy, which is energy at rest, and kinetic energy, which is energy on the move. The moment something moves and there is velocity and it takes action, it goes from potential, that's energy at rest, it goes into kinetic energy. And with kinetic energy, you can create the steam that can move locomotives. But something's got to move. Something's got to take action. So I'm a big believer in that. The Change Energizer energizes people to take action on their dreams and goals to push big achievements across the finish line.
Tell our listeners where they can get more from the Change Energizer.
Well, you can go to changeenergizer.com or you can go to scottcarley.com and you'll find my website. You'll find where the breakthrough retreats, my keynote presentation, what it looks like when I work with somebody. So changeenergizer.com, great place to go.
We will be sure to have links in the show notes. Thank you, Scott, for hanging out with us. Thank you, results leaders, for tuning in. Another episode is in the can. That is a wrap for another edition of ResultsLeader.fm. If you are out there getting results for your clients and you want to be featured on the show, go to ResultsLeader.fm now and apply to be on the show. And if you love what you're hearing, share the show, give us a rating and review, do anything to help us get the message out there. Thought leadership is easy, but results leadership is hard. We'll catch you on the next one.
This is the podcastfactory.com.